Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege.
Welcome to the TCMMA podcast. It's your boy, Chris Cross. And man, it's going down today. We got a big show for you. UFC Denver reaction, UFC Fight Night, which is UFC Vegas 94 this Saturday night. We got some predictions for you on that one. But first, let's dive into yesterday, because before we talk about anything UFC related, we got to get into Donald Trump. And flat out amazing yesterday. So we're getting ready for UFC Denver like we normally would on a Saturday night. And all of a sudden I start getting text messages, like I'm sure a lot of you were getting messages or posts or YouTube videos, and all of a sudden, you know, you saw what happened. You saw what happened. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. We're one head turn away from total chaos. I mean, if Donald Trump doesn't turn this way at the exact right time, the country would be in chaos. I hate to say it, but it would have been really bad, man.
Oh no!
Really, really bad.
Oh no!
And you know, when it first happens, again, I'm getting ready for UFC, so I then start proceeding to do UFC. Then I'm going and I'm looking stuff up, and I'm getting back to the fights. I really couldn't concentrate on the fights last night like I'd like to. I saw them all. But I'm constantly looking at the phone, trying to get updates. You know, what's the reaction to the Donald Trump situation and the rally last night? What news is breaking, right? And this is going on into the wee hours of the night. Still going on today, even past UFC Denver last night. So I get done with UFC Denver. Rose Namajunas and Tracy Cortez go to a 5-round fight where Namajunas dominated, and I'm right back to Trump. So just real thankful nothing happened. I think I was in minor shock, because I'm just like, my first instinct is that this isn't real, right? It's not real. I'm looking at him, you know, it whizzing by his face or head. And then he flicks his ear, he comes down, he gets back up, and there, you know, you see his face, it's red. And I'm like, this cannot be real. Like, if this is real, there's going to be like widespread protests. And then I start to think, okay, after I get past that, it is real, obviously. And then I'm like, what happens if he didn't turn his head? What happened if Trump doesn't turn his head and he goes down? The country is going to be in total chaos. Protests, and worse, the likes you've never seen before. Because we're at a time right now when our country is completely divided, right? I mean, it's literally like a UFC fight with, you know, fans on both sides. And if one of the fighters gets beat up before the fight and the fight don't take place, people are going to go crazy. And this is on a national level. This is on the highest level you can imagine. So if something happens to Trump, our country would descend into total chaos. So I guess the main thing today is, thank goodness that didn't happen. You got different people reacting today. You know, I know the rumors were that Trump was going to attend UFC Denver last night, so that was starting to trend. You know, when I'm looking up UFC, I'm starting to see Trump. I'm like, oh crap, he might be coming tonight, before I knew what happened. But I don't think he was, because Dana White was on a plane. He says on Twitter, I'm on a plane right now. flying to Italy, and my phone has been, notifying me with all these text messages from people informing me that Donald Trump was in that situation. I am absolutely sick to my stomach and in complete shock. I still don't know how bad it is or if he's okay. But McMaynard just sent me this picture, and I'm praying President Trump is 100% healthy. This image perfectly reflects exactly the man I know. He is the toughest, most resilient American badass on the planet. I hope the weak coward that did this to him gets what he deserves, and I can't wait to stand up on stage with him on Thursday and introduce him at the Republican National Convention, which is going to be just awesome. The fact that Dana White is going to do that. You had a lot of other UFC fighters come out yesterday in support of Trump, obviously, including the very first fight of the night at UFC Denver. And this is like at, 7 o'clock? That fight gets over, and the winner, goes on to say what happened. And it's amazing, you think about it, because they're getting ready for a fight. Any of you that played sports, you're getting ready, you're focused on the game. But these guys our messages are popping too. And this guy knows right before he goes out and fights that something has happened to Trump. So it's just crazy. Also, you had Conor McGregor reacting. He's in the news today a little bit too. A 78-year-old, multiple billionaire, should be on a yacht on the Med, touring golf courses, but he is not. He's in Pennsylvania dodging this stuff, running for the love of his country. Godspeed, Donald. God bless the United States. And the amount of people, even those that are in the middle, like, not that Elon Musk was in the middle, but, he was leaning towards Trump now and, clearing away from the Democratic Party, obviously. And, you've heard all those situations going on. He comes out within the hour and says he's supporting Trump for president. You're going to have a lot of people in the middle. I mean, it's just, it was just surreal to see Trump get up. You look at his face, he's pumping his fist in the air. It's like, that's what I was at first. I was like, this isn't real, because if someone took a shot at me and it whizzed my ear, I'm like, all right, y'all. It was, much love. It's been real, but deuces. Okay? I'm just being real with you, man. I love the country too, but if someone starts taking, coming at me like that, and I got the best service in the world, the best security, and I'm inches away from losing my life, hey, deuces. So I'm like, this can't be real. But of course it is. But it's just like that minor shock that I think a lot of us went through yesterday. And today you're starting to wake up and be like, yeah, this was real. This was real. And then how did this happen? How did it happen to where someone got close enough to do that? Now, the guy that did this, he ended up, like Dana White says, hoping he gets what he deserves in so many words. He obviously did. He's no longer with us. But it's just, it really is hard to come to grips with today. Fell asleep watching stuff on this, woke up, more information. And it just took over everything yesterday. And that's why we're talking about it on the podcast today, even though we cover UFC and MMA as a whole. This intersects with that because Trump is a big fan. He comes to UFC events. The word is he might have been coming to Denver last night. I don't know. But it's all in the circulation. And of course, you have a lot of American fighters who really support Donald Trump that are speaking out. So thankfully we got here and nothing too bad has happened. Or it could have been a different day for us, for sure. Now let's dive in to what happened last night. I mean, UFC Denver started big time, right? Just like 3 of the first 4 fights were finishes. You had Evan Elder get the sub, Andre Petrosky then won by decision. Then you had submissions from Luana Santos, and then a big KO by Montel Jackson. Check this out. This is what it sounded like last night. So Montel Jackson both fighters introduced into the octagon, and I expect this one to be a good one. I mean, 2 guys in similar situations coming in, right? Jackson 13-2, Blackshear 14-6. Both guys need to win, obviously, but Jackson at 13-2 has a lot more to lose. So I expect him to come in here and be aggressive as he stares down Blackshear before this fight begins. And here we go. Both fighters will touch gloves. Round 1 is underway. And you got opposite stances, right? You got Jackson standing left-handed, Blackshear standing right-handed. And some lead leg kicks by Montel Jackson right out the gate. Oh, big left by Jackson, flattens Blackshear. And that's it. Holy cow. Every week we get one, and here we get one in about 20 seconds. And I got to see the replay, but it almost seemed like Blackshear was in midair with some type of flying knee or something like that, but it happened very quickly. And unbelievable. People standing trying to see waiting for the replay, really like the rest of us. Even Jackson's wanting to see his own replay. He's on a knee. And you see the reaction of the crowd. People can't believe it. I mean, this was a fast fight. And it's not even updated yet. Holy cow. And here we go. Montel Jackson standing left-handed. Yep. He's going to come in. Yeah, he was leaving his feet, Blackshear, and took a big one right to the full mount. Right-left combination, fights over. Montel Jackson wins. Boom. Woo. Straight left and just caught him. Just caught him. That quick. Montel Jackson moves to 14-2, and we got 3 finishes in 4 fights. After the off week, ladies and gentlemen, big bantamweight fight here. UFC Denver. Yeah, and I thought that was one of the best fights of the night. Primarily because I expected it to be a long 3-round battle. And 20 seconds in, the fight's over. I mean, that's crazy to me. So great performance by Montel Jackson to get the finish. And that'll pay dividends going forward, for sure. Without a question. Now, in the prelim main event, yeah, Joshua Van and Charles Johnson. This one ended with a bang as well. Check this out. All right, here we go, round 3. Charles Johnson looking good so far. Van's got to pick it up. But instead, Johnson's coming out aggressive. Look at this. Misses on a leg kick, spinning back elbow. Nice. And a big right. Catches Van. Look out, Van. You better protect yourself. Takes another right. Oh, he's in trouble. He takes an uppercut and a big right, and Charles Johnson. Woo! With a big finish. And just at a time when the crowd is full to capacity now, ready for the main card, just 7 minutes away, and they're pumped up. And Charles Johnson's on top of the fence. He's pumping up the crowd. And, you know, you don't get to see this a lot in the flyweight division. You just don't get to see this a lot in this division, lightest division in the UFC. And you see the guy in the crowd dancing. He's pumped up. He's walking down the stairs, making eye contact with Johnson. And unbelievable. So he came out aggressive, spinning back fist. All right, here's a replay. See how far back they go. Yeah, boom. He lands the right on the ear, and Van's in a little bit of trouble. Boom. Tries to protect himself, takes the uppercut, and then another right before the ref can get in there. And Charles Johnson is 16-6, just like that. And that uppercut was ridiculous. That finished it for sure with a little cherry on top. So Charles Johnson gets the win here in dramatic fashion. Flyweight division, UFC Denver. And, you know, with all the Trump stuff, my attention is going towards that, but I'm also realizing as this event is happening, you're getting some great fights and some great finishes. Things would slow down later toward the end, but throughout the night, you had some big finishes, man. And another big finish came from Juicy J, Julian Erosa. Check this out. Major scramble now. Erosa on his back, Rodriguez on top. Ooh, Rodriguez leaving his neck exposed. And Erosa's trying to lock it in here. He's got the guillotine. It looked like a quick tap. He taps with the other arm. It's over. Juicy J, baby. Julian Erosa gets the win against a good fighter in Christian Rodriguez, man. And we called it. Expected a very close fight here, but instead, Erosa gets the win. Nearly just before the bell at the end of the first round. And you had a scramble on the ground, and Juicy J is on the bottom, but he ends up locking in the guillotine to get the win. So credit him. The crowd's loving it. That'll be a submission with 1 second left in the round. I didn't realize it was that close. I know I heard the tap, but 1 second left in the round. 4:59 into round 1. Juicy J gets his 30th MMA victory, which I completely expected him to get. I think he was the underdog too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the underdog. That was our underdog pick of the week. Featherweight division, UFC Denver. Yeah, so another incredible performance there by Juicy J. He looked good last night. We had him. It was more like a gut instinct on that one. I just felt like Juicy J was going to get the job done. When I'm looking at the stats and everything, it looked like a pretty close fight. But instead, Juicy J got the big finish. Now, in one of the most intriguing fights of the night, when the crowd was at its loudest, was Drew Dober versus Jean Silva. And this was interesting because Jean Silva had just won at UFC 303 and was, there was a week off in between. So he's fighting 2 weeks later, but it's back-to-back UFC events. And the crowd was loud for Drew Dober. I'm talking about USA chants like crazy. But Jean Silva instead would silence the crowd at the end. I mean, he just silenced the crowd at the end by getting the finish and doctor stoppage here against Drew Dober. Check this out. Oh, nice spinning back fist. Oh, they're going to stop the fight now. Dang. Drew Dober with a cut and the doctor saying, yeah, we're going to have to stop it. Dang, bro. What a great fight comes to an end. So is that going to be a win for Jean Silva? Yeah. Yeah, because it was all good. It just, ooh wee. Yeah. Wow. So Jean Silva wins in back-to-back UFC events, winning at UFC 303 against Charles Jourdain. Now another TKO win over Drew Dober, who had the major support from the crowd, but he couldn't get the job done, and he never quit. The doctor had to tell him to stop. That's how it goes down here. Lightweight division, always the best division in the UFC at UFC Denver. Yeah, so Jean Silva doing his thing last night in the third fight. Then you had Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio and Salikov go to a decision. That was a split decision win for Salikov. We fell on that one, but we did get the main event right. That's the key right now. Rose Namajunas got the win in dominant fashion. And here's how the night turned out. Right? 9-2 on the night. Incredible night. Joshua Van fell and Ponzinibbio lost on split decision, even though I thought he did enough just to barely win. Could have easily been our first perfect night ever. Right? Abdul Razak Al Hassan in his fight against Cody Brundage, that fight got stopped early. So we didn't get to see a finish there, but instead we're 9-2. 13-10 in the main event. Remember, we were 4-7 at one point, so we're 9-3 over the last 12, and we stretched out our wins and losses to 171 and 111. So we like that a lot. Speaking of Al Hassan, he did have something to say. Let me pull it up. He ribbed Cody Brundage, saying, I know definitely he could have continued. And, you see Cody Brundage sit down and not want to fight. At that point, you're getting paid for your show. If you don't believe you can win the fight, you don't fight. If there's something wrong with you, then there's something wrong with you. And that's one of those tough things to tell. But, a lot of times when a fighter doesn't get the fight, I mean, you're 20-something seconds in, Al Hassan's going to have something to say about it. And that's exactly what happened. Now, as we peek into the chat room, we got King Tersey saying Trump 2024. Blue Cheese Bandit saying MMA Joey banned anyone in chat who said, pray for Trump. Yeah. Gabrielle on Fire, is this live? Yes, it's live. Gabrielle on Fire saying, I'm asking because it won't let me say Trump stuff here. It keeps blocking me. Yeah. I mean, listen. Would not be surprised. Who knows? JJK9, do you think the attempt on Trump was staged? And I responded, who really knows, right? I mean, do you really know? I'm going to lean towards no on this one. Initially, I thought yes, but I think that's just an initial reaction of like minor shock to believe this can't really happen, right? This couldn't, like we all know this could happen to Trump. and yet it still happens. You would think security would be so ridiculously crazy that there's no possibility of anything like this happening. And it happens. So there's going to be a lot of questions about this, and a lot of videos, and a lot of theories, and all these type of things. But the reality is, I'm just being honest, I have no idea, man. I have absolutely no idea. Now, as we press forward, we got to head into some UFC Vegas 94 predictions. And Bum Clot asked the question at the right time, because that's where we're headed right now. I like the name for sure. But yeah, so UFC Vegas 94, not the best card in the world, but you do got Lemos versus Jandiroba. I always love a good Brazil on Brazil fight. I mean, I just do. There's something about it. Like, you know, it's going to be a great battle, right? No question about it. It's going to be a great battle. But we can't start off with the heavy hitter, right? We got to start and work our way up. So let's begin, and not necessarily the correct fight order, but it might be. I can't remember. But you got Steve Garcia versus Sung Woo Choi. That's the first fight we're going to begin with here in terms of the prediction portion. So let's go ahead and get into this big-time fight right now. In the featherweight division at UFC Vegas 94, you got Steve Garcia coming in at 15-5, taking on Sung Woo Choi, who comes in at 11-6. Garcia, slight favorite, but it's very close. Both guys stand 6 feet tall. Garcia's 1 year older at 32, Choi 31. Both guys 75-inch reach. So now some of the differences. Garcia fights left-handed. Choi fights right-handed. Garcia's got the advantage in activity, nearly 4.9 significant strikes per minute to 3.5 for Choi. Also, Garcia has an advantage in the takedown game with just over 1 takedown every 3 rounds. Choi's just below 1 takedown. So the takedown defense could become very important here. Well, 88% for Steve Garcia, right? Sung Woo Choi, 70%. So keep that in mind in this fight. So Garcia is basically better in all areas. In his last 3 fights, they're all wins. He KO'd Melquizal Costa, beat Shailan Nawardenbeek by KO, and KO'd Chase Hooper. Wow. So this is a KO machine over the last 3 fights. Now, Choi beat Jarno Aarons by decision, but lost to Michael Trezano by KO, split decision to Josh Kulabayo, and submitted by Alex Caceres, who was on a roll at that time, right? So I can see why Steve Garcia is the favorite. There's a little trepidation there, right? But the bottom line is there shouldn't be. I mean, Garcia looks good in all categories, right? The stand-up game is solid. The takedown game is solid. He's got good takedown defense, right? But he's a slight favorite because there's still a lot of unknown. But I tell you what, if Garcia can pull this out, which I think he will, he'll be on a 4-fight win streak, and especially if he gets to KO and it's 4 KOs in a row, that would be ridiculous. But at the end of the day, even if it's not a KO and it goes to a decision, Steve Garcia is going to win this thing. Choi has lost in every which way over the last 3 losses. So look for Garcia to win this fight, in my opinion. Couldn't tell you how, because he's going to probably dominate in all areas to move to 16-5 featherweight division, UFC Vegas 94. Yeah, so that's the way we see it going, and you got to realize, like, on some of these, like, this is going to be a card that not as many people watch. It's going to be at the Apex Center with no fans. These aren't the best fights in the world where you know all the fighters, but you still have fights like this that are so important, man, that could really go either way, and it's worth watching. It's just worth watching. So I can't wait to see that one. Now, another guy I'm highly interested to see how he does is Kurt Holloway. And he's taking on a guy named Kenan Khrushchevsky. And, you know, this is a fight that Holloway has got to win, but I'm not so sure. Right? I'm not so sure, because Khrushchevsky is a bad dude. So let's get into that one right now. In the lightweight division at UFC Vegas 94, you got Kurt Holloway taking on Kenan Khrushchevsky. A new name there. We'll get into that more in a moment. He is Brazilian. Holloway, obviously American. Holloway is 21-8. Khrushchevsky 15-2. Khrushchevsky 1 inch taller at 6 feet. He's 33. kind of right in that prime still. Hollowball getting older, 37 years old. He's got a 70-inch reach. He's given up 3 inches to Kanan Krzyzewski. Both guys stand right-handed. Kanan, a little bit better of a striker, 5.1 significant strikes per minute compared to 4.4. So that's like about 10 over the course of the fight if it goes to a decision. But Krzyzewski is dominating on the ground right now with 2 takedowns over the course of 3 rounds. Hollowball, less than 1 per 3 rounds. And Hollowball, 46% takedown defense. That could be a problem, right? He's lost 4 of the last 5 to Trey Ogden, Thiago Moises, Shane Burgos, Raoni Barcelos. He did beat Austin Hubbard by submission to put himself back in the UFC. Now, Krzyzewski lost to Elvis Brenner, who's a solid fighter. He got KO'd in the first round. Wasn't a great UFC debut, but he did dominate at the Contender Series against Dylan Montello by rear submission. So this is another opportunity. It's a tricky fight because Hollowball with all types of experience, but Krzyzewski, the Brazilian, right? When it's a close fight, I lean towards Brazilians because they can do things on the ground, grapple. They can submit you. Obviously, the stand-up game is always a question, but Krzyzewski didn't look bad in the first 2 fights. Again, over 5 significant strikes per minute. So as much as I like Kurt Hollowball, and as tough as he is, I got to go with the 15-2 Kanan Krzyzewski. No doubt about it. Again, I lean towards the Brazilians when it's close, especially when they're leading in all categories. So I look for Krzyzewski to get the win here. It's going to be a close fight. I don't think he'll get the submission. Maybe he will, but I'm not banking on that. I believe he wins the fight, in my opinion, by decision, in control, significant strikes, all that, to move to 16-2 here. Lightweight division, UFC Vegas, 94. Yeah, and I stick to the script because it's helped me throughout the years. And I've gotten more and more this way over the last year or 2 for sure, and it's paid off. When a fight is close, and there's a lot of fights that are close, so you're unsure when you make the pick. You got to go one way or the other. A lot of time it's just gut instinct, which paid off this past weekend. But when it's close and there's a Brazilian in there, I tend to lean towards a Brazilian, which is why I'm in trouble here in the main event because both fighters are Brazilian. But yeah, we like Kanan Krzyzewski to win because it's a close fight. Hollowball has been in there with some really good fighters and should win this fight, really, but I don't think he's going to. I just don't see it happening. So now as we work our way up into the main event, this is a good one. You got Brad Tavares versus Jun Yong Park. Things start to get interesting here because this is a great fight to see. And it's one that both guys need a victory. I mean, that's the case in every fight, but definitely in this one. Check it out. In the middleweight division at UFC Vegas 94, this is also your co-main event. You got Brad Tavares coming in at 20-10, taking on Jun Yong Park. Always a tough out. He comes in at 17-6. So 2 guys used to winning, on average about 70% of the time. Tavares, 3 inches taller at 6'1". He's 36. Time is running out. Park, 33. Tavares, 1-inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed. Park has the advantage on the feet, landing over 1 significant strike per minute on Tavares, right? It's 4.5 versus 3.4. So you're looking at 15 to 20 significant strike advantage for Park throughout the fight, right? He also lands 2 takedowns over the course of 3 rounds. Tavares less than 1 per 3 rounds. So Park has an advantage in the numbers. Tavares has lost 3 of the last 4 against some good fighters, man. Dricus du Plessis, Bruno Silva, ouch, and Gregory Robocop Rodriguez. Oddly enough, he went to a decision with du Plessis. Didn't fight bad, but 2 of the last 3 have been tough. He did beat Chris Weidman, right, after the injury. But if he fought him now, would it be the same? I don't know. Could have easily lost 4 in a row. Now, the Iron Turtle, Jun Yong Park, 57% takedown defense, right? Lost to Andre Muniz by split decision. Before that, won 4 in a row against Albert Duraev, Dennis Tiuliulin, and Joseph Holmes, as well as Eric Anders. So the level of competition isn't there, right? So you can look over the last 5 fights and say, Tavares is losing to some good fighters, right? Some very good fighters. He's the underdog here. And I believe he's going to lose this fight, but he's going to put up a battle, man. Right? He looked good against Chris Weidman when he beat him. But other than that, in the previous 4, he lost 3 of the last 4. So that's a problem. The momentum is not with him. Park seems to me to be at the top of his game and right at the right age at 33. He's right smack in the middle of the prime. So I look for Park to win this fight, both on the feet and on the ground. Maybe he loses a round, but very capable of getting a unanimous decision, 30-27. So it's going to be unanimous, but it's either 30-27 or 29-28. We'll see. In my opinion here, Park wins. Middleweight division, UFC Vegas, 94. Man, and it was tough to go against Brad Tavares in this one. Please believe it. I mean, Brad Tavares is a bad dude, but so is Jung Yong Park. I mean, they both have had their struggles throughout their career. I mean, like any fighter, but both very capable of winning. Pretty even fight, and this will be an interesting co-main event to watch. Please believe it. Now, as we get into the main event, not one that people are going to be going crazy over, but one that certainly has big implications, and that's Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. Two very capable fighters. Will we get another 5-round decision? Very possible. But this is Brazil on Brazil, so there's no easy angle for me to make a prediction at the end. Let's get into this one right now. In the women's strawweight division at UFC Vegas 94, you got a big one here in the main event. Amanda Lemos comes in at 14-3. She takes on Virna Jandiroba, who comes in at 20-3. So Brazil on Brazil. This is basically a toss-up fight. I mean, Jandiroba is a slight favorite, but all in all, it's pretty much even. Lemos, 1 inch taller at 5'4". She's 37, Jandiroba 36. Both ladies running out of time. The time is now. Lemos, 1 inch reach advantage. She fights southpaw or left-handed. Jandiroba fights right-handed. In terms of activity, both fighters aren't very active on the feet. I mean, Lemos lands 3.4 significant strikes per minute, where Jandiroba lands like 2.3. So both fighters are looking to get takedowns at certain points in the fight, but especially Jandiroba, who lands 2, really more than 2, almost 1 takedown per round, but 2 over the course of 3 rounds for sure. Her opponent, Lemos, lands like 1 every 3 rounds. So that you have that. Takedown defense for Amanda Lemos will be important. It's just 57%. That's not going to cut it. So she's getting taken down in this fight. Now, against Mackenzie Dern, she limited Mackenzie Dern's takedowns to just 1. She had 2, dominated on the feet 41-21, and really just controlled Dern to get a unanimous decision victory. That was surprising. Lemos did lose to Zhang Weili by decision. For the belt, just dominated. 6 takedowns to 0, 163-24, and it really set her back. Before that, she beat Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson-Gomez. So she still won 3 of the last 4, and the only loss was for the title. Jandiroba, on the other hand, is looking for an opportunity for a title fight. Has yet to have one, but has won 3 in a row against Marina Rodriguez, Angela Hill, Lupi Godinez, all by decision. She's had 8 takedowns to 1 over the course of these 3 fights, and has trailed in significant strikes in all 3 fights. But it goes to show you how dominant the ground game is for her. Now, when she did fight Amanda Ribas, she lost that fight because Amanda Ribas was able to defend takedowns and dominate 88-50 on the feet. Before that, she beat Kaneko Murata. So she's won 4 of the last 5. Lemos has won 3 of the last 4. This is a big-time fight, for both. But we saw Lemos wasn't even close to Zhang Weili. This is a big opportunity for Jandiroba to insert a new name into the conversation, and could very well get her a title fight. But she's got to dominate here. I think she wins barely. I don't know about domination, but I think Virna Jandiroba can clearly get a victory here with the ground game. She's going to have to utilize that. I mean, she's 20-3 for a reason. I look for her to win by decision. She may dominate, but it could be a close fight as well. So I'm in between both of those two, right? But Jandiroba wins this thing to move to 21-3. In my opinion, control time, for the most part, not the feet, but control time here in the women's strawweight division main event at UFC Vegas 94. Wow, so we got Virna Jandiroba winning this fight. And I'll tell you, you think I'm playing with you? A lot of times I don't remember who I picked. We're doing these predictions ahead of time. I watch them along with you, and I have to watch them and remind myself, hey, who do we go with? Because a lot of these fights are that close, and this one, Brazil on Brazil, 2 fighters nearly evenly ranked, and it's just going to be a battle. But I think Virna Jandiroba, with the height and reach, is going to win this fight. And it's Brazil on Brazil, so there's no clear, easy way to make a decision when it's close. So we like Jandiroba to win this fight. And that's the way it goes. So we reacted to UFC Denver last night, a wild night. The Donald Trump situation was terrible. Thank goodness nothing happened. We avoided total chaos last night, which would have happened if Trump would have went down, for sure. And then we got into UFC Vegas 94, aka UFC 94 predictions. At least got you 4 of them. So that's going to do it. Listen, I'm going to be on vacation for the next few days. Probably not bringing the equipment. So no podcast for a few days. So we wanted to get everything in on this one. And that's what we did. But stay tuned, man. We'll be back Thursday, Friday, something like that. Brief you on some news and then get ready for UFC Vegas 94, followed by UFC 304 the following week. So things are about to ramp up as soon as I get back from this vacation. But for now, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Much love as always, and God bless. For now, this is your boy Chris Cross. Have a great day and God bless. As always, peace.